again. It's been a while, I know, and I did say I'd come back pretty quickly with some information on the tube. Unfortunately, I've been on holiday, etc, etc. So anyway, we'll quickly run through what we've done so far, and then hopefully we can sort of curtail all this in the short term. I think it's going to take longer than that. Anyway, let's just show you what we've done. So first thing to do is get your tube. So we got ourselves a standard piece of acrylic tube, 110 outer diameter, with a 3mm wool. Okay, 1 meter long, because that's how long I'm going to need this tube, and it's good because I don't have to cut it, which is great. Which can be a bit of a problem. Got a bit of a helicopter flying about out there. I don't know what's going on out there. Anyway, there you go. Now what we first of all done is we've glued in some square section acrylic here, 3mm square section acrylic, and that's going to be there to take one of the electronics tray in the rear end. And what we're trying to do here is trying to fit everything in a smaller space as possible, because we're going to have these angle units running backwards and forwards, and they're going to take up the majority of the room. So the first bit I made was the motor mount. Bang, there it is. So we got the discs like that, 10mm discs, bought off the internet, as you know, and had them machined so that they fit in the end of the tube. So these are 10mm, just 5mm off, so nicely fitting inside the tube. We then had a motor mount made. I made that up, machined that out of aluminium, and you've got a rubber cup seal in there for the shaft. And of course we've had to have an extended shaft, so this is a 6mm shaft for the propeller, and the motor is 5mm, so we have a motion co coupling in here, joining the two together, and we've also got a roller bearing in here. That gives it a little bit more you know, alignment, you know, so that's great. So that looks kind of cool, like that, a bit like a helicopter mount. Done this on the other Gotland class. So there we go, nice piece of work there. And we've got these glands here, these conduit glands. These are standard 6mm conduit glands that you can buy almost anywhere. They are actually brass, even though they look like they're not. And what you do is you just put a couple of small O-rings, these O-rings inside, to take your push and pull rods, and they work very well, very cheap, so you don't have to buy them from Gotland. So that's that. Behind that we've got the servos mounted on this disc here, with the servo mounts on there. That's pretty cool, and that will go kind of like that, and then the speed controller will hang down below, whatever, underneath there like that. So that's kind of cool. Done that. Okay, at the other end we've made the same sort of disc. We drilled a number of holes in here to take the wiring harnesses. You need 2 wiring harnesses, and I've made these up. We've got Blue Peter. Here we go. We've got the power wiring harnesses, and they're made up using these plastic and brass inserted pump screws, I think they call these. And you just screw in there an M4 brass screw, cut the head off, and then solder up to your wire and seal it off with some sealing gunge. And there you have it, and they just fit in the end there. Really good. Bang, with an O-ring in between. There you go, look at that. And then you can just attach your wires to the other end with a spike connector or whatever else you're going to use. So that's that. Pretty good, eh? So we've got one of those for the 12-volt battery, and the other one for the 5 volts, which will go to the lights in the conning tower. So that's that. Done. Then, to go on to those square sections, we started to build this, the electronics tray. Okay, so here I've got the sail winch servo, which runs backwards and forwards. This will push up the periscope with the camera on it. I think you've seen it on the other one beforehand, so it goes backwards and forwards. And again, at the other side, we've got another one of these glands here, so it can run, the rod can run backwards and forwards past there. So that's kind of cool. We know that works because we did it on the last one. So that's that. And then we've got the distribution board standard distribution board, action distribution board, so we can put in obviously the power directly from the battery, and then we've got the wire here which I've already installed here. This goes to the little voltage reducer here, which you can dial in your voltage, which will be 5 volts, and then that goes off to the lights, etc. So that's that done. You've got the I've already put in the level device, the leveling device, the angle leveling device. I've had to put it here because I've got nowhere else to put it, so that'll be fine there. It'll work fine there, so that's okay. We need some space here, 100 by 50 to take the TX dive control unit, and that will go in there, and then the power from that will obviously come from the distribution board straight to that, and then straight to the angle unit. So that's what we need for that. No worries. Not sure whether I'm going to bother by putting in the pressure gauge, because I did about the other one. Don't really normally use that, to be quite honest. Does take up rather a lot of space. I'm not really sure that I really need it. I've never had to rely on that sort of thing, because I normally ballast the submarine so that they're not that case. But if I can find some room, I'll try and put it in. But it is a bit of a pain in the neck trying to fit it in somewhere, but we'll see how we go. As you can see, space is a bit of a premium. So there we go. So that's kind of ready, and that already kind of fits in now like that. Look at that. That's all ready to go. And that's all mounted on this 3mm plastic card. Best stuff to use. So we've got all that done. Everything's ready to go. So all we've got to do now is start putting in the M4 rods and building up this. And you obviously, because this is a meter, and we can only get a meter of this, we're going to have to join in the middle with a coupling. So that's a bit of fun and games, which we'll do very shortly. So I'll build it up and then show you kind of what it looks like out of the tube, and see how it kind of goes. For the angle units to be mounted on, you'll probably end up with a couple of these discs, maybe even an aluminium disc to hold the angle units in place. Not sure how that's going to work yet. We'll sort of make it up as we go along, because these studs have got to kind of miss each other or not, as the case may be. Anyway, we'll figure that out when we get that. But we may need some of these to hold the back of the angle units, and we've got a couple of those ready. Also, you'll need space for your receiver, and that's probably that little Johnny's going to go probably under here, because I don't really have any space for it on there. So that'll probably sit underneath there like that, stuck under there, and that'll be kind of nicely out of the way and that sort of thing there. And then the wire will probably end up by going out via a little tube on here, which will have, as we've done all the rest of it, which gives you a good advantage, because you can actually use that to repressurize it, etc., etc. Let the air in and out, all the rest of it. So it's got it, and also you can blow it to see when any bubbles come out, so whether you've got any leaks. So we'll do that. So a little bit of work to do, you know. It always looks like these sort of things like it's going to be easy, but it's not. It takes a long time, and of course, unless you've got some sort of plan and you've drawn it all out and everything else, and it never works. You have to sort of kind of make it up as it goes along, kind of thing. So we're using some of the things we used on some of the other submarines, and a lot of the rest of it is kind of coming out of my head. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a dry run, put these rods together, and then just quickly show you how that works. And then the next bit will be to get the angle units and put them in, and we're going to have to drill some more holes to allow the water in and out, which we're going to have to do as well. So, but we're not going to do that yet until we know exactly where those tubes are going to be. But essentially we're kind of moving on, so we can see some light at the tunnel. But anyway, let's put this thing together, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. Oh, quick change of t-shirt before we assembled it all. It's overnight anyway, couldn't be bothered to do it yesterday. So right, just to curtail this video to let you know how it all works, I've done a mock-up of it all, just to show you how it all is, and just to see how much space I've got left over for the angle units. And as you can see here is the mock-up with the rods in, the motor at this end, with the servos there, and then at this end you'd have your electronics unit here with your cables here coming out, so that's sort of like that, and that gives you some idea of what it will look like in the tube. So this space here, this massive space here, is where the two angle units are going to have to go. The reason why I'm going to have to use two is because I can't quite manage to sync this with the biggest one they do, which is 1,000. They don't recommend you going bigger than that. So it'll have to be two. Now, looking at the space in here, I'd like to have used two 750s, but which give me like 1,400, 1,500, cubic centimeters. But I don't think that's going to be possible, and I think the pressure is going to be too great. I mean, generally, I sort of work on a percentage really of sort of area of tube, of area of water to the inside of the tube, anything from about 10 to 15%. So more than that, and the pressures get quite high, and you start blowing the ends off, and the air starts coming out of the push rods and all the rest of it. So I don't think that's going to be possible, and there's not enough room for these rods to go backwards and forwards and kind of pass each other. It's going to be really tight. So what it looks like is going to be two 600s in here, and that will give me plenty of space, and that will give me a percentage ratio of I think it is just over 14%, which is good, and that'll be enough to sink this tube, and shouldn't be too bad. I mean, the freeboard's going to be a bit down, maybe. It's around about the right figures, but anyway, I can't fit any more in there, so that's going to have to ballast it, otherwise it's going to the pressure's going to be too great in here for that. So time we get those in there, I think that'll be good. I have one probably, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, but I think maybe instead of them coming with the rods coming in, I might have the rods going out. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever as long as the water's coming in. So I could have them the water coming in from this end with the rods going out. They'll make it a lot easier to install because they won't have to be offset, but that's all we need to do. So there it is. So the next thing to do, the next time we see you again, it'll be when these angle units are in, and it's all wired up and it's ready to go into the submarine. Now that might be a little bit of time because obviously it's going to take time to get them to Germany, etc. But that's what you're going to see next, and that will be kind of the end of it then, really, and it should look kind of good. So hope you enjoyed that. See you when we finish it. Cheers.